Okay, gang, really quick before we jump into the video. You may or may not know that I left academia a few years back for broadcasting, but teaching the next generation has and always will be on my heart. I've been broadcasting now through 3 election cycles, and I'm just sick at what the elites have done to our education system. So I decided to step up. My team and I have been working on this for well over a year now. I started a school, and I have absolutely massive plans to take it nationwide. The Worldview Institute of Entrepreneurship and Apprenticeship opens its first location in Lancaster, Pennsylvania on April 9th, and I want to invite you to the ribbon cutting. And I built a whole amazing event around it, so I want you to come and join me at the Kingdom Builders Experience, April 9th through 11th. You'll get an exclusive invite to the school's ribbon cutting. You'll be invited to a special Scotch and Cigars meetup with yours truly. I'll be lecturing at the school, plus we're hosting a Business Makers Summit where education meets opportunity. Now, seats are limited. Click the link below to learn more, and I can't wait to see you there. That's French opposition leader Marine Le Pen storming out of court today after officially being banned from running for president in their next election. European democracy strikes again, all to the adoring cheers of our liberal globalist elite. We're going to see the latest on yet the latest blatant incident of lawfare against a populist candidate, and we're going to see why it's all completely futile, just like it was with President Trump. It is not going to work, and it's only going to make Marine Le Pen and populists everywhere stronger. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve. As you can see, I'm back in the studio after being on the road for a few days. And my, oh my, did I come back to a bombshell here. Marine Le Pen, the leader of National Rally, that's France's MAGA party, whose poll numbers show she's poised to win the presidency in 2027. She has been officially banned from running for president by a French court. This after she and 8 other members of her party were indicted and found guilty of embezzlement. The charges were definitely meant to take Le Pen out of the running for president, since she was charged double, more than anyone else. She was charged with embezzling as a politician, as a member of the European Parliament, and she was charged again as the head of the party, supposedly guilty of embezzling. So the charges were clearly cooked up to take her out of contention for the presidency. She was sentenced to 4 years in prison, 2 of which got immediately suspended. I guess the rest are on house arrest. And it did effectively bar her from running for the presidency of France just 2 years from now. So this is lawfare at a whole new level here, clearly part of a growing pattern. As many of you know, this is not the first time European courts have done something like this, interfering in the democratic integrity of an election. At least France is having an election. A Romanian court just a few weeks back actually went so far as to nullify and then cancel presidential elections. So the populist Calin Georgescu, when he came out of nowhere to win the first round of Romanian presidential elections, the Romanian Supreme Court stepped in and annulled the election results and canceled the second round runoff election that was scheduled for a few weeks later. This was back in December. And the reason, I kid you not, the reason is because this court claimed Russian interference. You can't make this stuff up. Honest to God, Russian interference. They went so far as to say that Russian actors artificially manipulated and exploited TikTok's algorithm to give Georgescu's channel, which was widely popular among Romanians. That manipulation of the algorithm gave Georgescu's channel an artificial popularity and therefore undermined the democratic integrity of the election. And so they annulled the results and canceled the election, all in the name of democracy. And then after election officials announced a new round of elections there in Romania, when Georgescu went to register as a candidate, they arrested him. They freaking arrested him and charged him with colluding with Russia and trying to overthrow Romania's constitutional order. Again, I mean, you cannot make this clown circus up. That's why our good friend Alex Christoforou over at the Duran, Bobby Kennedy's favorite channel, by the way, favorite podcast, Alex came up with the new verb, Georgescu'd. Marine Le Pen got Georgescu'd today. And Wokeness had a very insightful, disturbingly insightful list revealing the pattern here. Romanian opposition leader banned. Brazilian opposition leader banned. That's Jair Bolsonaro. French opposition leader banned. Ukraine suspended all elections. That's right. How's this for irony? Russia's actually had more elections over the last three years than Ukraine has. Moldova bans opposition party. Germany tries to ban the AfD. America tried to ban Trump. That's the pattern. So what are we seeing here? And even more importantly, is it going to work? That is exactly what we're going to find out. But first, gang, as you know, our country witnessed a moment we will never forget. We saw a man get shot, stand up, fist in the air, and in defiance scream, "Fight." Now, sadly, too many of us have lost our fight, and that's exactly how the globalists want it. They want us weak, they want us out of shape and full of estrogen and microplastics. This is why we're so excited to partner with Chalk. Chalk offers a whole lineup of products formulated to increase your energy, your focus, detoxify your body, and based on clinical studies, boost your testosterone. In fact, the ingredients in the Chalk Male Vitality Stack have been clinically studied to boost free testosterone by 87% in just 21 days. Unlike with gimmicky vegetable pills or powder, you're going to feel the difference, and they'll have the clinical studies to back it up. And right now, you can get 25% off your Chalk subscription for life. You heard that right, for life. Just go to chalk.com. That's spelled CHOQ.com. Use the promo code Turley. That's 25% off any subscription for life, and you can cancel anytime. Chalk is made in America, and their all-American customer service team is standing by to assist you. It's time to make men's vitality great again. Get Chalk today. That's CHOQ.com, CHOQ.com, promo code Turley. You can text or call them at 50-CHOQ-3000. That's 50-CHOQ-3000. What's happening with all this lawfare that we've been seeing of late is relatively simple to get once you understand the nature of populist uprisings that we're seeing simultaneously happening all over the world today. We talk about this often on this channel, but the key to understanding populism is that populist movements, they're not so much ideologically driven as they are structurally driven. And what makes populist movements unique is they effectively reorient the political divide. So we normally think of politics as characterized by a horizontal divide, a divide between left versus right, liberals versus conservatives, Democrats versus Republicans. But populists literally stand that divide on its head. They realign politics around a more vertical divide, the people versus the permanent political class, the ruled versus the rulers, the ordinary citizen versus the oligarchs. And this is largely because populist sentiments see very little difference between the two establishment parties. So in 2010, during the height of the Tea Party movement, pollsters Doug Schoen and Scott Rasmussen, they published a very, very good study that found evidence of a dramatic political realignment happening in America already back in 2010, where an increasing number of voters saw virtually no difference between the leadership of the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. Instead, they were more and more seeing the real divide as between our political eliters and ourselves, right? Our elite versus ourselves. And what we're finding with the rise of these massive populist movements, from Brexit to Trump to Maloney to Marine Le Pen to Calin Georgescu, what we're finding is that the establishment elite are more and more turning to the courts that, keep in mind, they largely set up. They're turning to the judges that they largely appointed to suppress these populist movements in order to keep themselves in power. So it could be the corrupt kangaroo court that we saw in Manhattan that convicted Trump on all these felony counts that we still don't quite understand. To this day, we still don't exactly know what Trump was convicted of. We had the insanely woke Colorado Supreme Court that originally tried to ban Trump from running in 2024. Of course, we've got all these insane, out-of-control judges, rogue judges that are trying to wield more power than the president. I mean, the Babylon Bee had a great. I'll have to find it. The Babylon Bee had a great little headline. Trump resigns as president, becomes judge, so that he'll have more power than the presidency. Something really funny like that. It could be the Romanian court that banned Georgescu. It could be the Italian court. This is one of my favorites. You had an Italian court that harassed Matteo Salvini, the leader of the Lega party in Italy, for years. And if you could believe it, they charged him with kidnapping. I kid you not. Criminal kidnapping. Because he refused to allow a ship of migrants to dock in an Italian port. And the court tried to make the argument that because the migrants were held against their will on that boat for several days, that was a legitimate case of Salvini, in effect, criminally kidnapping them. I mean, it was insane. Unfortunately, he was just acquitted. But it just shows you the extent to which these courts are willing to go in order to thwart these rising populist movements and box them out of power. Bottom line, now that the people have turned against our ruling elite en masse, our ruling elite are turning to their own courts, to their own judges that they appointed, not to protect and defend the rule of law, but to protect and defend the rule of the elites, the rule of the establishment. That, I believe, is what is really going on here. And that is why this lawfare is only going to make Marine Le Pen and National Rally even stronger. That's exactly what I argued in relation to Trump originally. All these indictments, all this lawfare against him was only going to make him stronger, precisely because it reinforces the whole reason why there's a populist movement in the first place. All of this lawfare only serves to confirm the corruption of the elite, of the permanent political class, and how they rule solely for their own benefit, for their own political and economic gain, while despising the values, interests, concerns of the people they claim to represent. Lawfare proves that so much of our democratic norms are a charade, that our elite only care about themselves and their own political power and affluence, and they couldn't give a rip about the citizens they supposedly serve. This is why Trump ended up amassing so much political popularity for his second term. We talked about this on our first video today. You definitely want to check that out. Trump's surge in popularity largely came from our political elite discrediting themselves, not simply because of the bad economy or the wide open borders. Those were certainly disqualifying for sure. But even the ultra-left BBC admitted that Trump's poll numbers went up after all of the indictments. The lawfare failed precisely because it confirms populist concerns. It confirms the very reasons why the political divide has been recalibrated vertically. The gap between rulers and ruled and those who are ruled becomes all the more wide and evident. And so it only serves to fuel the populist divide. That's why Le Pen and National Rally will only come out of this stronger than ever. And it looks like we're already seeing it, because guess who's now ready to step in to replace Marine Le Pen? The very young and charismatic Gen Zer, Jordan Bardella. And he's even more right-wing than she is. That's generally the pattern. Whoever ends up getting taken out gets replaced by someone who's far more faithful to the people than the original populist leader. So we'll see how things play out in the weeks and months ahead here. But you can be sure, as frustrating as all of this blatant lawfare is, you can be sure it will ultimately only end up blowing up in their elite faces. Hey there, Turley Talker. You know what? I'd love to hear from you. That's why I'm launching the Dr. Steve Hotline, where you can call in, leave a question, and maybe even hear your own voice featured on an upcoming episode of the show. Whether it's about the latest political shakeup or cultural trends or how we keep pushing forward in this new conservative age, I want to know what's on your mind. Call me at 717-844-5984. Just leave your question. I'll be checking in every single week to answer as many as I can. Again, that's 717-844-5984. Your chance to be a part of the conversation. One more time, 717-844-5984. Give me a call and let's talk.